Hi guys! Super excited to finally start kind of filming makeup. Something I've been wanting to do for a while, and with everything that's been going on lately, what better way to start? I've decided that I'm going to do a couple of videos where I pick a colour and then base it off of something. So I am doing a look inspired by Luka from Vocaloid, and I'm specifically going for the song World Dance Dance Hall. Her outfit there is pretty. So I'm going to be using pinks, reds and gold today. Hopefully we can come up with a good look. So I'm going to start with primer, obviously. So I'm still learning how to do makeup and whatnot. I'm very much a beginner, but I have come a long way since I started. So I tend to just do my T-zone because I'm still trying to figure out what my skin is, and primer tends to work more for me at the moment if I do just focus on those little bits. I'm still experimenting with products and ensuring that I kind of figure out what's right for me and what's not for me. For foundation, I use the Wet n Wild one in the palest one they can have because I'm pale. And what I do is I just dab it on my skin. I take a beauty sponge and I just kind of just dab it into my skin. I have a mirror here. So I have a foundation brush, but for some reason the brush doesn't seem to want to work on my skin and it makes my foundation look really weird. I wish I knew why. I prefer a sponge because it makes my face look a lot better and it doesn't grip to any parts that I find that are randomly dry. They're not always dry, and then sometimes it grips to parts that aren't even dry. So I'm working on my skin tone. Gotta make sure that it's as even as I possibly can get it. I kind of do it in sections. I do my cheeks first and then I go on to my forehead. Just scrape a little bit of foundation off and just boop. Do that. Just whisk away any hair that's in the way. Given that I have short hair, you would think hair wouldn't be an issue. My hair is obviously gripped back to stop it from getting in my face. I do like a fair bit of foundation. I do like to try and cover my face up as much as possible. But since I am only starting out with makeup, I don't have any of the super awesome foundations. For example, I would quite like the Fenty one. And I had intended to buy the Fenty one, but obviously with everything that's been happening lately, I'm currently not earning. Obviously the world needs to just do its best at the moment. So just make sure that you get the nose. And that's the foundation. A friend of mine said that I should try doing makeup in 10 minutes, but doing my foundation takes a good 5 minutes on its own, usually. Thankfully it worked out pretty well today, thankfully. So next up would be concealer. And I use the Revolution one. Where is it? There it is. I've not actually used this on myself yet because it's a relatively new purchase. So hopefully this works. So I was told that a concealer brush is a lot better, but I can't actually stand the the concealer brush, so I use my same sponge and I just pat it out. Now with concealer, I am still trying to find an amazing concealer that is good at concealing. because what you probably can't see is that I have massive circles under my eyes from lack of sleep. And you're probably thinking, oh, everyone's got lack of sleep at the moment. I wish that was true. Or in sense of that it was just unique to this particular moment, but it's not. For years I have had problems sleeping. Probably should work on it, to be fair. But yeah, I like to try and conceal my under eyes as best as I possibly can. Like I said, I've not actually used this concealer on myself yet. I go to a makeup session, or I was going to a makeup session that happened like every first Sunday of a month. I went twice, and they started this year. And they were teaching me some things, and I was super excited. But, well, apparently the world had different ideas. See, I like to conceal that out. And then my next step is to take my Coty Airspun and just tap out some powder. And then I have a separate sponge for that, for under the eyes. Obviously it's going to go everywhere. I don't know if this concealer will crease on me or not. Again, I haven't used it. The only person I've used it on is my wonderful partner. They let me tackle their face. I'm going to take my powder brush and I'm just going to sweep up the remainder of the powder and just gently pat that all over my face, just to set the foundation, shall we say. I don't use too much on the face because, you know, you don't really need to. So I'm just going to pat that on the face. I love the brush, it's so fluffy. Now, if you haven't used Coty Airspun before, it's very powerful in scent and it goes everywhere. My partner, they really like to wear black tops. So when I do their foundation and their concealer and use the Coty Airspun, their tops become white by the end of it. This is the foundation brush. It feels really soft and I really like it. I like the motion, but it just makes my foundation look weird on my face. I don't know whether it's just my skin tone or if I've just not mastered the art of it yet. But given this is my first video, I figured I would go with what I know and try out new things later on. I go to bronzing next. I have a little e.l.f. kit here for bronzing. And I wonder if you can tell which bronzer I use. I use this little brush for bronzing. I've tried other brushes. For some reason the brush in here that is for bronzing doesn't seem to actually bronze. So obviously you let yourself bake for a few minutes and then you brush everything away. I know a few people, or I have a few friends that cosplay and whatnot and like makeup, but either they're not into makeup as much as I am or they've got a technique that works for them. So I have a friend who was really confused with the powder at first. She was like, what is that? I started watching, so it was RuPaul Drag Race that got me into makeup, believe it or not. I decided I'd finally watch it last year. I think it was last year, might have been the year before. No, I think it was the beginning of last year. I binge watched season 1 through to... Who was the last winner that I saw? The last person I watched was Evie Oddly winning, but before that it wasn't out when I finished binge watching, so the season before that, which might have been Bob? Can't remember. So yeah, and then I realised that I really enjoyed makeup. So then, I actually came into YouTube on the Beauty Gurus during the whole Dramageddon, and I found a YouTuber, Tati Westbrook. I ended up absolutely falling in love with her videos and her makeup and just started following her. So although I came into the whole Dramageddon thing, I didn't have an opinion because I knew no one at that point. I didn't know what was going on. But I ended up just sticking with her channel after it all died down, and I ended up really enjoying it. And I binge watched like her whole channel. The other two I don't really, not so much don't like, but I struggle with their content because, I don't know, I just don't relate to them quite as much, so I don't watch them. However, you'll find that quite hilarious given what palette I'll be using today. So I am going to get some bronzer, just tap it off, always tap the excess. Now I'm just going to lightly bronze the face. So one thing you'll notice is I'm not contouring. The reason for that is that I have not got the hang of my face shape and struggled to contour my own face. My partner's face, I contour quite regularly. I enjoy contouring their face. But I have not got the hang of contouring my own face just yet. I haven't done it very much. So there's a few things I will not be doing that I haven't done very much. So I don't do my eyebrows because, as you can see, they're quite big and puffy and black anyway. They don't match my hair, but they don't match my hair anyway. Because despite the blackness of my roots and things, you wouldn't believe that I was actually blonde. But when I decided to go through like a midlife crisis at 25, I decided to cut most of my hair off. Much to the dismay of my grandparents and parents. So you may notice that I don't tend to heavily bronze my face. Unless, you know, it comes across like I have. But I don't tend to because my face is really pale, so it's really easy to over bronze essentially. But I don't mind my paleness, I kind of embrace it. So as you can see, it's not heavily bronzed, it's just a nice little, it's just a nice little hint of nice brown tan. I get paranoid about tanning or about bronzing because I've never had a tan in my life, so I don't know what I look like with slightly darker skin than pale. So now that that's done, I'm going to go on to blush. I use this. This you have to be real careful with because if you over dip even just slightly, it's really powerful. So I take this brush. As you can see, it's already got a little bit of blush on it. Probably should have washed my brushes before I did this video, but you wouldn't believe that I've only used them once since. I'm going to go into probably this one right here. So what I do is I tap, 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 and then tap, tap, tap. And then I just simply blot it. Just dab it on my cheeks. So I don't tend to blush. So I always use blusher, but I always do it really subtly. I don't know why, I just see that my face looks kind of weird with like really bright pink cheeks. Maybe it's just like I'm not used to yet. So in the screen, my face looks really, really weird. I'm hoping that it's just the camera and it will be fine on actual camera. So I'm just gonna... So I learned that you don't smile because if you smile, you drag it up and then it drops. But at the end of the day, it's however you want to do it. So again, I'm just going to tap, tap, tap. I did an extra one there. And then just do the same on the other cheek. I know this video is probably going to come across really awkward because it's my first video doing makeup. I don't often have an audience when I'm doing makeup. But makeup has been very quickly, in the space of just under a year, became one of my most biggest passions. You won't believe that I did not touch makeup when I was a kid. Couldn't stand it. Anyone that came near me with makeup, I was like, no thank you. Apparently, older me had different ideas. Realistically, looking at the palette now, probably should have gone for more pink since I'm doing a Luka style outfit, but hey ho. So now that's done, I go on to my favourite bit, highlighter. So I kind of have two go-to palettes. Well, I have a palette which is the Rach Loves Pixie palette because the highlighters are gorgeous. And then normally I use this as the inner corner for my eye. That's the Jaclyn Hill Loose Powder. Occasionally, when I want something slightly subtler, I use this one. But highlighter is one of my favourite things, and I quite often overdo it with a highlighter, not going to lie. So I'm going to take this brush and I'm going to go into probably my favourite, which will probably be this one. No, I'm going to go into this one, Clutch. I'm just going to tap it, get my mirror, and just gently graze the high points of my face. I have a habit of overdoing highlighter, like I said, but as I always say, there's no such thing as too much highlight. So my face is looking very shiny. I don't do things by half. I've never been able to successfully do a neutral look. I can't do neutrals. So now that's done, I'm going to move on to the eyes. Possibly my most favourite part of everything. So I have P. Louise. This is new. I think I've used this on myself once. So I discovered this through Nikki Tutorials, who I only recently started watching. But then it turns out that my makeup artist that I go to ends up using P. Louise as well. So I'm going to take this brush just to gently put some P. Louise on my skin. Not so much on my skin, but on my eyelids. I don't use eyeshadow primer a lot. It is definitely a recent addition, so you'll have to excuse me if I mess up. So you'll very quickly learn with my videos that I always overdo the eyeshadow. 100%. Highlighter and eyeshadow are probably my two biggest things that I mess with. I struggle to just stick to one eyeshadow palette. There's always got to be more than one. That happens. And you might not be able to see it, but there's a little bit of glitter. As you will come to learn, I love glitter too. So the main colours I'm going to be using for are in the Blood Sugar palette. But for a transition shade, or just like a little like base, I'm going to be using the Tati Beauty palette. Again, as I said earlier, I don't tend to do a lot of neutrals, so her palette is kind of not something I use for a complete look, but her palette is basically a staple that I use for transitions, and sometimes I like to use the gold or the copper or something. I've used the black once for a smoky eye look. It was terrifying, but we got there. So I'm going to take this brush, ignore the blue on it, and what I'm going to do is I've just dabbed into Soothe, this one down here. Take the mirror, or as always, tap tap tap, and then just lightly go in for the crease. That just gives it a nice little definition, personally. Obviously this is my own personal opinion, you can do whatever you want. Don't let anyone tell you how to do makeup, ever. So that's done, I am going to go into the Blood Sugar palette. And this is the Blood Sugar palette. I've also got Blue Blood, but we're not using them today because Luka is pink. This happens to have reds, golds and pinks in it, which is perfect for what I need for today. So I'm just going to take the same brush. We're going to go into this one here, the one next to the pink, Sweetener. Just going to get that onto the brush, tap it off, as always. I'm just going to sweep that into the crease, just to golden it up slightly. So Blue Blood, Blood Sugar and Tati Beauty are my three main palettes that I use. My partner, when I discovered that Tati was releasing her line, decided that for Christmas he was going to get it for me. And then for Valentine's Day he got me Blood Sugar, and then for my birthday in March he got me Blood Sugar. Did I say that right? Valentine's Day I got Blue Blood, birthday I got Blood Sugar. My partner is insanely crazy to make me happy. I'm very lucky to have someone like him. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Prick, which is this one down here, and put that in the crease. Just Blood Sugar and Blue Blood are some of my favourites. I appreciate neutral tones and how they can be useful, which is why I love Tati Beauty's palette. I use it practically all the time. I mainly use it for the metallics and the glitters, but I have attempted neutrals before. I say attempted, they have never come across quite as neutral as I want to be. I will do a neutral look, but then I will just ruin it with glitter. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pink up this side of my lid. So we're going to go into Cavity, which is that nice pink one there. So despite the fact that I'm doing Luka is not my favourite Vocaloid. My favourite one is Len. If you ask me what my favourite song from Vocaloid is Rolling Girl, because I relate to it. But my favourite Len song would probably be either Servant of Evil, Prisoner, or Superhero. If I had a palette that had yellows in it, you better believe I would do a Len inspired look. Specifically Len, I don't like Rin very much. And up until recently I thought they were actually twins, but they're not. Fun fact. Now, I've never actually done this before. I'm just going to take a little bit and just make a slightly neater divided line. Apparently it takes like a millionth of my concentration to do this. Like I said, I've never done something like this before. Not yet. Like I said, I'm still learning with techniques and whatnot. I had intended to get models in and start attempting to run my own kind of business in makeup. But, well, clearly the world had better ideas. So we'll just half cut the crease, I guess would be the technical term. And then I'm going to take this little brush and I'm going to go into this copper up here, which is called Donor. Just this. Just once. So Vocaloid I kind of grew up with when I was younger. I basically delved into Vocaloid and fell in love with it. And then me and my best friend have basically gone to every Vocaloid concert that has been in the UK. I go with a certain particular friend because she's incredible and she's amazing and she's my bestie. And one day we will successfully cosplay, ironically, she wants to cosplay Luka and I will cosplay Len. We both did Miku at the recent expo. Thankfully the expo managed to happen before everything broke out. It was incredible. I loved it. Especially when they played Rolling Girl, which like I said I relate to on a personal level. Gonna gold it up. That is a beautiful colour. Like I said, if it sparkles, I'm in. Just gonna put that down. Just gonna take the old brush just to blend everything in. So this is the look. I'm probably going to add a bit of glitter, honestly, because who wouldn't? Probably everyone, honestly, but not me. So I have this nice little pressed glitter palette here. And I'm just going to go into that light pink one at the top here. And like before, I'm just going to spray the thing and just gently tap into that. It's kind of an homage to my Miku look that I did for Miku Expo. Well, I did a blue look with blue glitter. Because like I said, never too much glitter. Then what I like to do is I'm just going to take this little brush and I'm just going to go back into Clutch. And just put that in the inner corner. And then the other trick that I do is I take the Jaclyn Hill and I just take a bit of that glitter and I just dab it on the inner corner. Just to give it the extra pizzazz. I am going to take the Essence Waterproof Mascara. Another thing I haven't got the hang of using yet is falsies. I would love to use falsies because I hate my eyelashes, essentially. I don't particularly have any eyelashes. The other thing I'm not doing at the moment is lining my lips because I don't have enough eyeliners to go with my lipsticks. I'm working on that. We'll get there eventually, I promise. So for the lips, I'm going to be using this dark pink. I have a light pink, but unfortunately I can't use it at the moment. It's broken. So we're just going to go with a nice pink. Naturally, you would leave the lips kind of nudish. Don't have a nude for obvious reasons. And there we go. Just to add a little bit of shine, because you can always shine, I'm going to put a bit of gloss on top. So as you can see, it adds a nice little gleam to the lips. So there we have it. Let me just unclip my hair. Just ignore the state of my hair at the moment, it needs redying. But yeah, as you may have noticed, I didn't use any eyeliner either. I'm still practicing that little technique. Just going to take this and just give it a good old spray. And there we have it. The Warden Dance Hall inspiration look for Luka, specifically, her ruby outfit from Project Diva. I hope you like it. I kind of like how it came out. You won't believe that this is actually kind of subtle for me. And I've enjoyed doing this and I hope that I can give you more makeup in the future. Well, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and hopefully I will catch you later. Bye!